So, hello everyone. I welcome you all in this beautiful session. Here we'll be solving the report writing task 1 question of Pie Chart. Here we'll be just analyzing a student response and we'll be seeing that how can we, with some minor changes, improve our response from a band 6 to band 8 plus. So, we'll be seeing all these things. So, without any further ado, let's just get the ball rolling and let's quickly get started. The very first thing you must know and understand is that what are your task parameters? Okay, what are your things which you have to take care of while writing? So first is your task achievement, which actually sees that have you written the overview correctly? Have you elaborated the key trends, key changes happening in that graph? We'll also see that accurate data should be there with no opinions. You are not supposed to provide any opinion over here. Next is coherence and cohesion, which comes under logical paraphrasing. You have to see that you are writing everything properly. It should be neat and clean. It should be all immaculate. Okay, a clear flow should be there. You must use linking words. Paragraphing should be there properly. You must leave 2 lines gap in between. Everything should be proper. Now, lexical resource is the kind of words you're using. What's the kind of vocabulary are you using? Okay, and the language, everything should be proper. You should use advanced words, good words, and grammatical range and accuracy. In that you see that what kind of structures are you using. Grammatically everything should be proper with minimal errors. Okay, these are your parameters. Now let's just move ahead towards further things. Okay, everyone. Now, in order to understand these two pie charts, we need to read the question properly. So, this is our question, which says that the two pie charts below show the percentages of energy production from different sources in a country in 1995 to 2005. That means, आपको क्या given है 1995 and 2005 में there are different sources of energy productions happening. ठीक है? Energy production is happening from different sources. So we need to understand and we need to analyze. Firstly, we have to give ourselves, because we are supposed to complete our writing task 1 question in just 20 minutes. Okay. Out of the 60 minutes, we divide it into 20. Now, in this 20 minutes, you have to give yourself 5 minutes time, firstly, to understand the graph thoroughly. So let's just understand it. Okay, so this is clearly evident from the graphs that we can even compare both of them. Why? Because the base is same. Okay, they both are representing the same things. Year ka difference hai. That's it. Okay, so we are going to compare. So what are the major sources of energy production? If we see gas and coal, it is evident. Can you see, guys? Ye both the sources are majorly producing the energies. Now, the gas, if we see in 1995, is at 29, somewhat approximately 29%, which has got increased to 30%, which is also contributing majorly here in 1995 and equally here in 2005. Now, this coal has also got increased from 29.8% to 30% approximately. Now, this again has got increased. Whereas, if we see, petroleum is the only source of energy which has got decreased in terms, in relative terms, which is 29 to 19%. It has got decreased. Whereas every other energy sources has got increased, even other and nuclear sources of energy has got increased, like from 4% to 9% approximately, and 6 to 10% approximately. So it is clearly evident that this is the only source, petroleum is the only source of energy which has got decreased. Now, this is here we have understood the graph thoroughly. Okay, now we are going to see how has the student written his response and what are some changes can we do over there. Now, this is the student's response. Okay, this is the introduction. Let me tell you what are your what is the format you have to use. So intro should be there, then overview, then body 1 and body 2. This is your format, guys. Okay, now this is your intro para. Okay, the very first paragraph of yours. So student has written it in a way that the pie chart show how energy was produced from different sources in 1995 and 2005. If you see, there are not major changes from the question he has created. Now, if we see, the corrected version can be that the two pie charts, instead of writing show word, you can say illustrate. Okay, so the two pie chart illustrate the proportion. Instead of saying how energy was produced, you can say it's showing the percentages, right? आपको percentages given hai. Hence you can use the proportions. Instead of using the percentage word, you can say the proportion of energy generated, not created or produced. You say generated, different word, from 5 different sources. Instead of saying different sources as it is from the question, you have to say from 5. There are 5 sources, right? So you write the number from 5 different sources in a country in the year 1995 to 2005. Hence, this is what we say and what we call a paraphrasing, a correct paraphrasing. I hope it is clear. Okay, guys? Now let's move ahead towards the overall, which is our second paragraph. Okay, in the overall, if you see, firstly, let's just read. This is really, guys, it's really important for IELTS that for you to write this overall para. So a student has written it in a way. Overall, gas was the biggest source in both the years. Okay, petroleum decreased while coal and nuclear other sources increased. That's how simply he has written. No doubt it is correct. But how can we make it better for a better band and for a better version of the answer? It can go like this. See, overall, natural gas remained the dominant source of energy, isn't it? Natural gas, that means gas, remained the dominant source. It was having the highest number, the highest percent. So we can say, we can use this word dominant source of energy in both the years. We are now going to compare and write our overall. However, now this however we're going to use, petroleum experienced a significant decline. We talked about petroleum as well, whereas coal and nuclear energy and other sources all showed noticeable growth over the period. Throughout the period, all the other sources showed noticeable growth, wherein petroleum got decreased. That's how we have written. Okay, this is a clear picture of what is happening in that graph. So examiner should be very much clear with what is happening in that graph. So overall actually shows that. Okay, without using any data, we have represented and written our overall. So now you can clearly see that what is the difference from this overall to this overall. Now let's move ahead to our another paragraph, which is body para 1. Now this is our body para 1, guys. Pay attention to this. In this body para, one student has written it like this. Now you tell me one thing. Can we not compare both of the figures? Right? We can obviously compare. How? Because the base is same. It's just the year is getting different. So we can definitely make comparison and write in our body para 1 and 2. Not like separately. 1995 in body para 1 and the other one in the body para 2. We are not going to write like this. So student response would go like this. Gas and coal were the main sources of energy in both years. In 1995, gas, petroleum were almost the same at around 29%, while coal was slightly lower. By 2005, gas and coal increased a little to just over 30%, but petroleum dropped to about 20%. This is what he has written. Now, gas and coal remained the dominant energy sources in both the years. Not only gas, but even coal was highest, right? So we have written it in a way that for we are comparing both of them. For a better version, we have to start comparing and writing like this. Now, in both the figures, in both the years, gas and coal remain dominant energy sources. Each accounting, see the word you're using, each accounting for just under 30% in 1995 before rising slightly to around 30. These are called approximators, which you always have to use. Okay, slightly to around 30% or under 30%, somewhat like this. We have to always use to be accurate with the data. In 2005. In contrast, petroleum. Now we are going to talk about the petroleum one. So we have to write this contrasting words. In contrast, petroleum, which initially contributed a similar proportion to gas at just around 29%, experienced a substantial decline. Okay, whenever there is a major decline, you can use the words like plummeted or substantial decrease, substantial decline. Always use these kind of words for a better band. Experienced, this word is also something which we majorly use. A substantial decline over the period, falling to below 1/5. We always use fractions over here to increase the band of total energy production by 2005. I hope everything is clear, guys. We have already seen the graphs. So same thing, we are just comparing. Okay, and using good words. So you need to actually pay attention to the language. This version is also not bad or wrong. Okay, but then once you want to increase your level, increase your band's level, then definitely you need to focus on the language you're using. Next, this was for the body para 1. Now we're going to go ahead towards the body para 2. So pay attention. Here, student has written it in a way that nuclear and other sources produced much less energy than the main sources in both years. However, both increased over time. Nuclear rose from about 6% to around 10%, and other sources almost doubled. Okay. Meanwhile, we start like this in the corrected version. Meanwhile, now we're going to talk about the other, like for the contrasting things. Okay. So, meanwhile, nuclear power and other sources accounted for relatively smaller shares. Okay. Less energy key on the place of less energy, you can use relatively smaller share of energy production in 1995. Nevertheless, now this is a contrasting keyword, very important. Both showed notable growth over the decade. Okay, with nuclear energy increasing from just over 6%, pay attention, to approximately 10%, while the proportion from other sources almost doubled, just over, pay attention to these words, rising from just under 5% to just above 9% in 2005. Now, what are we doing here? Is that we are majorly using approximators when something is around 29% or something above like that. So you can say under 6% or under 30%, like that. Okay, or if something is just above something and in the points, so you can say over or approximately. Use these words. This is going to play a major role. I hope you understood now what you have to take care of. Now if we move ahead, we see that what were some of the things which we improved, which lets us improve our band. So which were like using here in the band 6, using vague words, a little, a lot, around, and here we used precise data and percentages. We used here the simple vocabularies, whereas we used here the academic vocabularies, advanced academic vocabularies. Here we use limited sentence structures, while here we use complex and compound structures, wherein we put some linking words like contrasting words, similarity keywords. And here we use basic comparisons, whereas here we used clear contrast and trend language. So this is something which is going to help you out in order to increase your band. Okay. And what were the some of the words we used were these. Pay attention. Accounted for, remained dominant, experienced a slight decline, rose marginally, and saw substantial growth, in contrast, whereas, meanwhile. So yes, guys, these were something which is really important, guys, for you also to use. And yes, here we are done. So I hope the session was really helpful and you are going to definitely incorporate all these things and you're going to always learn. See, we can definitely always improve once we are ready to learn new things and incorporate. That's it. Thank you so much. We'll be soon meeting you all in another session.